So good morning, Long Beach and everyone visiting Long Beach. I'm Annabelle Chavez from the city of Long Beach, your MC today. We welcome you on this exciting day to kick off a highly anticipated weekend with today's event, the 15th Annual Motorsports Walk of Fame. As we begin the ceremony, I want to acknowledge some dignitaries here from the city. Raul Sen from CD2, Ray Morcheco from CD1, Linda Tatum, Assistant City Manager, and Tom Morica, our City Manager for the City of Long Beach. Thank you. Yay. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming our mayor of our amazing city, Mayor Robert Garcia.
Well, good morning, everyone. I want to just begin on behalf of the city of Long Beach. I just want to welcome everyone to Grand Prix weekend. I think everyone knows that the city looks incredible this weekend every single year. And this year's been a little different. Of course, we couldn't have the race when we normally have it, but where it's at today, this weekend, its impact, of course, on the city, on the economy is really important for us in our community. I want to just begin. You're about to hear, of course, from two more incredible legends that are going to be here in our Motorsports Walk of Fame. And we're excited to share this moment with all of you and all of our friends in our community. Now, for 46 years, Long Beach has been home to some of the best racing in the world. We've been honoring since 2006 some incredible people involved in motorsports, drivers, owners, other folks that have been leaders. And our inductees in the past 15 years have included a who's who of motorsports icons, including Mario Andretti, Michael Andretti, Sebastian Bourdais, Pernelli Jones, Roger Penske, Will Power, and many, many more. Here we go. And of course, you are going to hear today from two more incredible inductees in just a moment, one of which just helped me out with the microphone over here. We are also very fortunate just to celebrate what's going to be a very great weekend. It's going to be a good weekend. It's going to be a safe weekend. And I know it's one that the community is greatly looking forward to. So on behalf of the city, welcome to Long Beach. And I also want to just take a minute to introduce someone who is going to also introduce our honorees that really needs no introduction in our community. We all know, of course, that thanks to his incredible leadership, we have this race every single year. We have so much giving that goes back into the community. And more importantly, we have someone that drives fans to our community each year, every single year. So Jim, of course, who leads us, Jim McCallion is a staple of our community, but runs also an incredible race for us every single year. Let's give a huge round of applause to Jim McCallion.
Thank you, Mayor, and on behalf of all of us at the Grand Prix Association, let me say how excited we are, one, to be back, and to have all of you join us at this party we're going to be putting on here this weekend. You know, this is great. This is September weather. You know, we know it can be a little bit warm in Southern California, but there hasn't been a cloud in the sky, and I dare anybody to think back into April times when we don't spend a lot of time looking up into the sky to see where those clouds are coming from and what they might contain. So we're loving this September weather, but don't get used to it, okay? Because next April, the 8th through the 10th, we're gonna be back doing this race in its more familiar time frame, which is a spring break. But for this weekend, we're delighted to have everybody rejoin all of the activities here on race weekend. We managed to put together a very similar kind of a schedule that we have had before. We're expecting to have a very strong attendance here for our race. And most of all, what we want to do is we want to create the same sense of excitement and energy, but do in a very safe and secure manner. And as part of that program, we will be implementing, because of the mandates that have come down from the state of California and also from the city of Long Beach, that everybody that attends have a face covering both inside and outside, whether they've been vaccinated or not. And also, first time through, there'll be proof of vaccination and or a recent negative COVID test. Once you provided that information at our entry gates, we will fix a wristband to you, and you won't need to repeat that process any other time during the weekend. So what we're trying to do is expedite people through the first time and yet make sure that everybody's adhering to the protocols that have been established for the race. So bear with us. It's something I think it's important, because when this race occurs in the next 3 days, it will be the safest mega event in the state of California that anybody can attend, because those mandates will be in place. And I think it's really important when you think about the impact of this race into the community. And the mayor mentioned it briefly, but there'll be not only thousands of people attending here with the economic impact it brings, but also there's going to be 8 hours of national television, which also incorporates an international audience. And when you think about it, what do those television images portray? What they look at is not just cars going down Shoreline Drive or up Seaside Way, but it's the entire backdrop of the city. On the south side, when you're looking out over the Port of Long Beach, Rainbow Harbor, the Queen Mary, and then the cars going back up Seaside Way, and you have the whole skinny landscape and all of the new developments that have taken place. And literally, people sitting at home watching those video images begin to see year after year after year the development that's taking place in this dynamic city. And they really become interested in seeing what's next in terms of where Long Beach is going. And that's a tremendous legacy. It's a legacy to Mayor Garcia, to all the city council members, and to the city administrative staff, that they've maintained that momentum, even given the challenging times that we've been through. So kudos to them for doing a great job. And we're looking forward to coming back here, not only in September, but back in April, to tell the story about what Long Beach is up to and how it's progressing as we go along. Before I go any further, I'd like to acknowledge a member of our Motorsports Walk of Fame who's joined us here. And where's Jimmy Vassar at? There he is, Mr. Vassar. So you're going to hear his name mentioned a lot this weekend, because he actually entries in both the IndyCar series as well as the IMSA WeatherTech series. So you'll hear Vassar Sullivan, Vassar Sullivan, Vassar Sullivan. And if you think you're repeating things that people don't know what they're talking about, it's because he has cars in both series and has actually done very well in both of them too. So congratulations coming out, Jimmy. I don't see any other members from the Motorsports Walk of Fame. However, I want to acknowledge the absence of one of our members here. He was inducted back in 2016, and he was certainly known as the voice of the Grand Prix, and that's Mr. Bruce Flanders. And we lost Bruce back in April 2020, and that was a major loss for us, because you've listened to his voice when you've come to this race. He was here since 1978. And he was different from almost any other announcer that ever portrayed his craft in motorsports. You stopped and you listened to Bruce when he talked, because he really had not only a wealth of knowledge, but a real unique sense of humor that went along with it. So we're really disappointed that Bruce can't be here with us, and we most appreciate what he did for the event and for the sport overall the year. So we're going to miss Bruce. But on to the ceremony today, just a brief history. I had the opportunity to invite both of our inductees to join us back in April of 2020, and they very readily accepted, and we were proceeding along. And then, of course, as you know, on March the 12th, we, as long as basically the entire nation, came to a halt. And so we obviously canceled the 2020 race. And then I contacted these two individuals again and said, well, we're going to do this in April of 2021. And, you know, we got close into the fall season of 2020, and we began to see that there was going to be some challenges about putting this event on. So as a consequence of that, why I went back to them and said, you know what, we're thinking we might have to reschedule this. And by the time I went back to them with that, I think they began to think that perhaps this was never going to take place as far as they were concerned. But we got to September, we were able to align their schedules with ours, and we're very fortunate to have both Willy Ribs and Oriol Servia here today and being a part of this ceremony. So thanks, guys, for coming. We really appreciate it. And let me just take a moment to let you know that we think that this Motorsports Walk of Fame is really a significant part of our weekend, a part of the culture of Long Beach, and it begins to create the historical patterns that have reverberated throughout the city going way back to 1975 when we first ran this race through the streets. And I think it's a legacy to the city that names continue to appear every year, simplifying how significant this race is, and those actors, characters, whatever you want to call them, have come and participated because it continues that legacy of what Long Beach is all about. So we're very fortunate to be able to participate with the city in the Walk of Fame, and we look forward to doing it until we run out of sidewalk here up Pine Avenue, and then we're going to have to make a decision about where we're going to be going after that, because the race is going to go on, and we're going to honor some more drivers, so we'll figure that out. First of all, one of our inductees here today is a name that is very familiar to all of you, especially if you go back a ways. He first ran here in 1978 in the Atlantic Series and continued on in 78 and 79. He was also, he won the Atlantic pole here in 82. And then he competed here twice in Indy cars. And so, you know, his versatility is amazing. He's driven open wheel cars, he's driven NASCAR, he's driven stock cars, he's driven anything that's got an engine and four wheels. You put Willy in it, and you're going to have a sensational effort out of him. And some of his qualifying runs at Indy are something that people just still are amazed about. He was incredible when he jumped into cars he'd never driven before and managed to put them into the field for the Indy 500. He also was the Rookie of the Year in 1983, ran in Trans Am. We ran here, had the Trans Am Series here, and he was named the IMSA GTO Series driver in both 87 and in 88, and just to display his versatility in terms of all those different types of cars and how well he's done on that. I also would like to say that Willy has faced some adversity and some challenges as he's come up through his career. And if any of you had a chance to watch the biopic on Netflix called Uppity, you'll get a really good portrait of some of the things that Willy has encountered as he's risen up through the ranks and has now achieved what he has. So actually back in 2020, the biopic just came out on Netflix right before the 2020 race, so it would have been a great promotional piece for him participating in our Walk of Fame. But because now we're here in 2021, it's still available on Netflix, right, Willy? Yes. Yeah, it is. So you go on there and see. It's called Uppity, and it's a great portrait of Willy and his achievements despite his challenge. So on behalf of all of us, the city, certainly the Grand Prix Association, I want to welcome Willy as one of the 2021 Motorsports Walk of Fame inductees.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Long Beach Grand Prix Association. Thank you, everyone that's here. Thank you, the dignitaries, the mayor and city managers. And it's been a long history. 1975, when they had the very first race here, I was in that window. And there was no other buildings around here. Nothing was here. There was a couple of the buildings. It might be a landmark now, but that was my first experience with Long Beach and the Grand Prix. I watched it. And 3 years later, I went to England in 1977, won the Dunlop Formula Ford Championship, came back to the United States. This is where I made my debut in America, right here, Long Beach, 1978. And I made my IndyCar debut here in 1990. So it carries a lot of history, and I watched it grow. I mean, if there's any two cities in this country that auto racing built, it would be the Indianapolis 500 and Long Beach Grand Prix. No question. And usually things in California don't sustain themselves, right? It can go and come, and it's remarkable what the association's done and their commitment from the city. And look at this place now. This is Las Vegas without slot machines. And I'm honored to be inducted into the Walk of Fame. As a matter of fact, my wife asked me, she said, what kind of shoes you gonna wear? Yeah. So, and living in Texas, you know, you don't wear these out because there's a lot of rattlesnakes around. You gotta wear something a little bit thicker. But it's been a long ride, and it's been a great ride through trial and tribulation. I'll always be able to say that it started here. When I came back from England, my first race in the United States was here, my first IndyCar race, and there was history to that, especially the IndyCar race. So I'm still here. So thank you all for coming, and thank you, Grand Prix Association.
Thank you very much, Willie. And come on down and we'll unveil your medallion here. Thank you very much again, Willie. And we've given him a smaller replica of that medallion to keep for his sake. And we again we appreciate your coming out and being part. He came all the way from Texas, where he resides now. So thanks, Willie, and thank you very much for all you've done to contribute to the success of this event.
Now, Mayor Robert Garcia, can you please come up to the stage, and we will now introduce Jim. Sorry about that. Jim, you're back on the mic. Now we're going to introduce
Oriol Servia?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's okay. Here. Okay. So the second of our inductees is Oriol Servia. A lot of you know him for his exploits, not only here, but also throughout the motorsports world. He too doesn't drive just one type of car, one make of car. He drives everything. And the fact was that he has been significant in terms of his success, not only here in Long Beach, but certainly at the Indianapolis 500 and a variety of other open wheel activities. He was born in Spain, came to the United States in 1998, and then ran the Indy Lights Series. He finished 19th in his first race here at Long Beach before going on to win the series title in 99. And he competed in Indy cars 13 times on our city streets here in Long Beach. And his best finish was the second place in 2007. And he's, like I said, he's raced in what used to be the American Le Mans, now is the IMSA WeatherTech Challenge, Trans Am, Grand Am. He even ran the Formula E series, which is the electric car series, the international series. Also, I want to say on behalf of Oriol, he has been a tremendous ambassador for this event. There are numerous times when I've called Oriol over the years and asked him to participate in various promotional and other activities, speaking to various Hispanic groups, and he's always been a great spokesman, not just for the event itself, but for the sport. And and by the way, as an aside, right now he has been asked to participate as the pace car driver at a lot of the IndyCar races. So if you see the pace car that's out during a yellow or preceding the start of the race, Mr. Servia is probably the one that's driving it. And just as a note to that, why some of you might have seen the inaugural Nashville race that occurred back in the early part of August. And if you remember, there was a number of long yellows in that. And we calculated that Oriol Servia should have got at least one extra point for leading the most laps in the pace car at Nashville. So, and I think you're driving the Nashville?
Yeah, I am.
So when you see the NSX pace car going around the Acura NSX, Mr. Servia is going to be one piloting that. So on behalf of all of us, I want to say how honored we are to have Oriol Servia be inducted into the Long Beach Motorsports Walk of Fame. Oriol.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, everyone that's come here. I know you guys all have busy days on Thursdays before the start of the weekend. It's a tremendous honor. Like, when Jim called me and told me, I'm like, but I haven't really broken that many records. Then he told me Willy T was also being inducted, and I thought, well, I do have a record. I have been in, I think, 14 different IndyCar teams in my career. So I guess the three of us, and I include Jim in the race, we're definitely being relentless. I know for sure how much Jim had to jump through loops through all his time leading this race to keep it together, and obviously Willy. So you know, I'm gonna take it. It's been a great career. In many ways, it's a roller coaster of a career, but I think every motorsport career is a roller coaster career. When you look at 14 IndyCar teams, probably I've been to every ride in the Six Flags, right? If you think of it that way. So it's been great. Long Beach has been special for me, like I think all drivers. I have a couple of big moments. In '99, I was fighting for the win. I ended up in the wall in turn 1. That shaped the rest of the season for me and helped me win the championship. 2007 comes to mind because I wasn't supposed to be racing. And I wasn't really prepared, but I got a call last minute to get in the car of Paul Tracy, who just got injured on Friday, and started at the back and finished second. So we didn't win, but we got close, and it's just such a special race that you know, I honestly feel extremely proud to be here, to be thought in this way, to be in the company of these other stars that mark this race. So. Through my career, there's so many people I'd like to thank, but there's two that I have to, because they've been the two pillars from my day one in this racing world, in this country. One started as a competitor, became a mentor, then a friend, and it's someone who we're here today, but he kind of started practicing with me or showing me how is it done, a proper walk of shame in Vegas? Jimmy Vasser, and it's so funny that we end up here at the Walk of Fame today. Thanks for becoming the big brother I never had, Jimmy. And then, it's funny, but I have never thanked my wife, ever. Every IndyCar driver, when it comes to the banquet at the Indy 500, thanks properly the wife that is always there. And I always saved it for the day I was going to win. I wanted to make it really special. I still may, and I still owe you that one, but Jackie's been with me through this roller coaster, not just the fun rides, but also all the long lines in between sometimes, and I could have not chosen a better partner, and I'm so happy we did it together. So thank you.
Thank you, Oriol, and let's go down and unveil your medallion here. Thanks again to Oriol and Willy for coming today. And Oriol, I'd like to give you a replica of that medallion. You can keep that on your shelf. And thank you to all of you for coming. We really appreciate the support you've given to the Motorsports Walk of Fame. And let's have one more hand for both of our inductees here.